Two nations. No direct war. No diplomatic relations for over 4 decades. And yet, one of the most dangerous rivalries on earth. When people talk about Itihasa, Iran hostility, they usually start in 1979. They're wrong. This story doesn't begin with burning flags. It begins with oil, power, and a secret operation in 1953. And once you see the full timeline, you'll realize. This isn't just a political dispute. It's a cycle of memory, pride, revenge, and survival. Welcome to Epic Tales. Part 1, 1953, the coup that echoes through time. In 1951, Iran's democratically elected Prime Minister, Mohammad Mossadegh, did something bold. He nationalized Iran's oil industry, taking control away from British interests. To many Iranians, it was a moment of sovereignty. To Britain, it was a threat. To the United States, it looked like instability during the Cold War. So in 1953, the CIA and British intelligence launched Operation Ajax. Mossadegh was overthrown. The Shah, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, was restored to power. In Washington, it was framed as stopping communism. In Tehran, it was remembered as foreign betrayal. And here's why this matters. For 26 more years, the Shah ruled, increasingly authoritarian. His secret police, Savak, suppressed dissent. And many Iranians believed one thing. America chose control over democracy. That belief never faded. It simmered. Part 2, 1979, Revolution and Humiliation. By 1979, the Shah's regime collapsed under massive protests. A religious leader returned from exile. Ruhollah Khomeini. The Islamic Republic was born. And it defined itself by what it opposed. Western influence. American interference. Imperial power. But then came the moment that reshaped American public opinion forever. The hostage crisis. Iranian students stormed the U.S. Embassy. 52 Americans were held for 444 days. For Iran's revolutionaries, it was resistance. For Americans, it was humiliation broadcast to the world. Diplomatic ties were severed. They have never been restored. Part 3, the 1980s, Blood, War, and Proxy Shadows. In 1980, Saddam Hussein invaded Iran. The Iran-Iraq War became one of the deadliest wars of the 20th century. The U.S. tilted toward Iraq. From Iran's perspective, America backed their enemy. Intelligence sharing. Economic support. Strategic silence on chemical weapons. Then in 1988, tragedy. A U.S. Navy cruiser shot down Iran Air Flight 655. 290 civilians were killed. In Iran, this became a symbol of injustice. In America, it was described as a tragic mistake during tense naval operations. Two nations. Two memories. No reconciliation. Part 4, the Shadow War Era. After the Cold War, the hostility didn't disappear. It evolved. Instead of direct confrontation, a shadow war emerged. Hezbollah in Lebanon. Militias in Iraq. Influence in Syria. Support for groups opposed to Israel. The U.S. labeled Iran a state sponsor of terrorism. In 2002, President George W. Bush called Iran part of the axis of evil. For Tehran, that confirmed their worst fear. Regime change was the real objective. For Washington, Iran was expanding destabilizing influence. Distrust deepened. Part 5, the Nuclear Gamble. By the early 2000s, the nuclear program became the central flashpoint. Was Iran pursuing civilian energy? Or secretly building a bomb? Sanctions intensified. Iran's economy suffered. Then came diplomacy. In 2015, under President Barack Obama. Iran and world powers signed the nuclear deal, the JCPOA. It limited uranium enrichment. Inspections increased. Sanctions eased. For a brief moment, the temperature dropped. But in 2018, President Donald Trump withdrew from the agreement. Sanctions returned. Iran resumed enrichment beyond previous limits. Tensions surged again. Part 6, the 2020 Flashpoint. In January 2020, the U.S. killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani in a drone strike. Iran responded with missile strikes on U.S. bases in Iraq. For a few days, the world held its breath. It felt like open war was seconds away. But once again, both sides stepped back. Why? Because despite decades of hostility, neither wants full-scale war. Part 7, Public Opinion, the hate rate. There's no official hate meter. But polling tells a story. In the US, majorities, often 60 to 85%, view Iran unfavorably. Yet most Americans say their issue is with the Iranian government, not the people. Inside Iran, large majorities disapprove of U.S. government policies. But many separate America's leadership from its culture. Among younger Iranians, admiration for American tech, universities, entrepreneurship still exists. So this isn't pure emotional hatred. It's political hostility layered over decades of memory. Part 8, The Real Drivers. This rivalry is not ethnic. Not simply religious. It's about power and survival. Iran's leadership sees the U.S. as a threat to regime security. The U.S. sees Iran as destabilizing the Middle East. Add regional competition in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Yemen. Sanctions that create real economic hardship. Narratives that reinforce national identity on both sides. And you get a rivalry that feeds itself. Part 9, The Psychology of Conflict. Here's where it gets deeper. Nations remember. In Iran, 1953 equals betrayal. 1988 equals injustice. Sanctions equals collective punishment. In America, 1979 equals humiliation. Death to America, chance equals permanent hostility. Nuclear fears equals existential threat. When leaders speak, they're not just reacting to events. They're responding to history. And history is emotional. Part 10, So is it getting worse? The relationship moves in cycles. Extreme hostility. Cold confrontation. Diplomatic thaw. Escalation again. But one thing has remained constant. No full reconciliation since 1979. And yet, no direct war either. That balance is fragile. Final reflection. This isn't a story of two nations that simply hate each other. It's a story of intervention, revolution, war, sanctions, missed opportunities, and strategic fear. It's government-level rivalry, not people-to-people hatred. And it's still unfolding. Because history doesn't end. It evolves. Empires rise. Revolutions ignite. Memories refuse to die. And the conflict between America and Iran? It isn't just geopolitics. It's one of the most powerful epic tales of modern history. And it's still being written. Subscribe to Epic Tales, where history isn't just told. It's brought to life.